Our Shared Journey. Thomas Mann's Buddenbrooks, A Quest for the Meaning of Life. Preface. Books, and more than just a mirror of life. For many of us, the word reading can feel heavy or difficult at times. Especially when it comes to classic literature, there can be an even greater sense of unease. But books are not merely tools for transferring knowledge. They are mirrors that reflect the world we live in and ourselves, and sometimes they are also treasures of wisdom that reveal profound meanings of life we haven't yet considered. Today, as we explore Thomas Mann's Buddenbrooks, I invite you to approach this journey without the burdens of words like knowledge or cultivation, simply with the understanding that it's a story about a family we might see in our everyday lives and one that resembles our own lives. While it appears to be a tale of the decline of a wealthy merchant family, it quietly offers answers to fundamental questions such as what is life? And what do we live for? 1. What is Buddenbrooks about? Published when Thomas Mann was 26, forming the foundation for his later Nobel Prize in Literature, Buddenbrooks is an epic novel set in the port city of Lübeck, Germany, spanning 4 generations of the Buddenbrook family from 1835 to 1877. The narrative vividly captures the rise and fall of this once powerful and wealthy merchant family amidst the changes of the times. Inspired by the real-life history of Thomas Mann's own family, the novel features characters whose descriptions and internal conflicts are so vivid and realistic that they can easily make readers feel as if they themselves are living through that era. Initially appearing as a story of a prosperous merchant family, it gradually reveals the struggles of each family member in their quest for success, happiness, and the meaning of life. Reading this book is akin to following the history of a family. Through them, we learn how individual lives are influenced by the flow of time, shifting societal values, and the often heavy burdens inherited from previous generations. It also prompts deep questions about whether material wealth truly leads to spiritual fulfillment and happiness. 2. The lives and struggles of the 4 generations of the Buddenbrooks. First generation. Johann Buddenbrook, the grandfather. The founder of the family, Johann laid the solid foundation of the Buddenbrook trading empire. Driven by strict business principles, unwavering faith, and strong will, he built the family's prosperity. For him, success in business was both the goal of life and the family's glory. He devoted his entire life to 2 pillars: work and the family. In his era, business success was synonymous with family prosperity and divine blessing. Second generation. Johann Buddenbrook II, the father, a city councillor. Following in his grandfather's footsteps, Johann II further expanded the family's wealth and influence. He inherited his grandfather's business acumen and added refined culture and artistic taste. Becoming a city councillor, he elevated the family's honor to its peak. However, he already harbored a different inner spirit from the first generation. While pursuing business success and social acclaim, he also secretly cherished a deep passion for literature and music, a foreshadowing of the future conflict between commerce and art that would define later generations. Outwardly, he was the perfect counselor and businessman, but inwardly, he already nurtured a romantic and artistic sensitivity. Third generation. Thomas Buddenbrook, the son, a city councillor, and Tony Buddenbrook, the daughter. Representing both the family's peak and the beginning of its decline, they epitomize the era of transition. Thomas became the head of the family and a city councillor, striving to uphold the family's honor. Though he lived a seemingly successful life with strict self-discipline and perfectionism, his inner life was plagued with anxiety and a sense of futility. Possessing both the cold determination of a businessman and the sensitivity of an artist, he struggled endlessly between these 2 opposing natures. Despite appearing to stand at the pinnacle of success, he was consumed by the weight of the family's legacy and his own suppressed desires. His tooth problems, which cause him constant pain, symbolize his hidden inner suffering. His life illustrates how external success does not always equate to internal fulfillment. Tony Buddenbrook, Thomas's sister, represents the tragic consequences of prioritizing family honor over individual happiness. Though cheerful and vibrant, she was repeatedly forced into unhappy marriages for the sake of the family's status and wealth. Her deep pride in the family name ultimately trapped her within the expectations of others and societal norms. Her story starkly illustrates how personal happiness can be sacrificed to serve the glory of a family name. Fourth generation Hanno Buddenbrook, Thomas's son. The final member of the Buddenbrook family, Hanno, is a delicate and sickly boy with a rich artistic sensibility, completely unlike the traditional business traits of his ancestors. He has no interest in wealth or social success, seeking instead to find meaning in life through music and art. However, in a family that values strength and business acumen, his sensitivity is perceived as weakness. Hanno ultimately dies of illness, bringing the Buddenbrook lineage to an end. His death symbolizes not only the end of a person but also the conclusion of an era's values and traditions, and the legacy of a merchant family. His death also marks art as a fragile act of retreat from the harsh realities of life. 3. Lessons from Buddenbrooks' Universal Truths of Life. Buddenbrooks is more than just an old family story. It offers profound questions and insights that remain relevant today. The evolution and conflict of values across generations. The first thing that stands out is the generational evolution of values. The first generation valued only business success and family prosperity, seeing it as the purpose of their existence. However, with each passing generation, characters began to pursue other things: art, emotion, and personal happiness. This mirrors our society, where our parents' generation might have placed the highest value on hard work, earning money, and providing for the family. In contrast, today's youth emphasize personal happiness, work-life balance, and self-fulfillment. The resulting generational conflicts are common. Buddenbrooks shows that such changes are natural in human history, subtly reminding us of the importance of understanding and respecting differing values. Instead of insisting that our values alone are right, we must listen thoughtfully to what other generations cherish. The shadow of success and the meaning of happiness. The Buddenbrook family appeared to have everything: wealth, honor, and social status. Yet, during their peak, Thomas experienced inner emptiness and anxiety, and Tony sacrificed her happiness for the family. The final generation, Hanno, lived a life entirely detached from material success before ultimately disappearing. This prompts us to ask, what is success? Does achieving the conventional standards of success, earning a lot of money and attaining high status, truly bring happiness? The book subtly reveals that material success does not necessarily lead to spiritual fulfillment or personal happiness. Instead, the pressure to maintain success, the constant effort required, and the subsequent suffering can burden individuals. The book quietly suggests that true happiness comes not from meeting others' expectations or societal standards, but from understanding ourselves and seeking what our hearts truly desire. Tradition versus individuality and the balance of life. The Buddenbrook family placed great emphasis on tradition and family honor. While this once supported the family's strength, over time, it became a constraint that oppressed individuality and freedom. Thomas had to suppress his artistic sensitivity to live as a businessman, and Tony was compelled to accept loveless marriages. Hanno, dreaming of a path completely different from his family's expectations, ultimately succumbed to despair. Our lives reflect similar struggles. We often find ourselves caught between what our family or society expects and what we genuinely want. How can we find balance between tradition and individuality? Is it truly a happy life to hide our true self to meet the expectations of others? The book does not advocate rejecting tradition or blindly pursuing individuality. Instead, it reminds us that tradition can sometimes be repressive and that we should not neglect the effort to discover who we truly are. The finiteness of life and the natural cycle of change. The Buddenbrook family once appeared as a formidable empire, yet eventually declined and faded into history. This reveals a fundamental truth about life: nothing is eternal. Whether it's an individual's life, a family's history, or even the rise and fall of a nation, everything follows the natural cycle of beginning and ending, growth and decline. While this realization might bring a sense of futility, it also motivates us to live today with greater diligence. Accepting the inevitable change and impermanence of all things allows us to let go of regrets about the past and anxieties about the future, and instead cherish the present moment. Rather than being trapped by yesterday's glory or tomorrow's uncertainties, living our best in the present and valuing our relationships with others and ourselves is what gives life true meaning. The human inner turmoil hidden beneath the surface. One of the greatest charms of this book is its ability to portray characters' inner lives with extraordinary detail. Even those who appear serene and successful on the surface are internally consumed with endless thoughts, anxiety, and desire. Although Thomas the counselor is outwardly perfect, he is constantly tormented by the burden of upholding the family and his artistic inclinations. This is also true of us. We all carry hidden weaknesses, anxieties, and unfulfilled dreams within us. The book reveals this universal truth about the human condition: everyone struggles with their own burdens in life. This insight encourages empathy and understanding for others. Recognizing that no one is as they appear and that everyone carries their own weight allows us to look at others with warmer eyes. Conclusion: My Life and Buddenbrooks. Thomas Mann's Buddenbrooks is undoubtedly a challenging book. Its vast scope and complex character relationships might initially discourage readers. Yet, as we turn each page, we are surprised to find ourselves reflected within its pages, the image of ourselves wandering in the expectations of our families, striving for success while feeling an emptiness within, and constantly shifting and questioning in the face of changing times. The book does not tell us exactly how to live. Instead, through the rise and fall of one family, it raises universal questions of human existence and gently guides readers to find their own answers. What story does my family hold? What do I truly consider success? Whose life am I living? Where can I find my happiness? By listening to this story of a family over more than a century, we gain the opportunity to understand and reflect more deeply on our own lives today. Beyond knowledge or cultivation, Buddenbrooks contains truths about life that anyone can empathize with. So, why not gather the courage to listen to the story of this remarkable family? Perhaps you will discover the meaning of your own precious life within it.